Not sure why vengeance is a bad idea? That's okay. I've been there myself. I'm just going to walk you through these 4 tips as to why vengeance is a bad idea, and we'll just dive a little deeper into those tips right after this. So, first things first, vengeance is a bad idea because it can blind you. The second thing is that vengeance can leave you vulnerable to manipulation. The third thing is that vengeance can rob you of your purpose. And the fourth thing is that vengeance does not undo the past. Those are the 4 tips I'll be diving in on with regards to this video. So just, yeah, stick around and just hear a little bit more about them. Yeah. So tip number 1 is that vengeance can blind you. Again, using Thorfinn as an example here, think back to all the times, this is if you've watched it, think back to all the times when Thorfinn literally lost his cool when it came to fighting Askeladd. And you can just see that even beyond that, like, this guy was so deep inside his vengeance or his pursuit of it that the man forgot that he still has a family. Like, I mean, that's major. Like, again, he did not become like an only child because of the death of his dad, or he didn't become like, someone who has no family. His mother and sister were still alive. But Thorfinn, buried deep in, manhood, honor, I gotta avenge my dad, sadly, totally did not see this. Again, vengeance blinding him to what he actually does have, not necessarily what he lost. You also see that vengeance can actually cause someone to have tunnel vision. So they're laser focused on what they want. Again, being laser focused is a good thing, but context is always key, because in this case, when they're laser focused, they could actually do dangerous things in order to achieve that vengeance, forgetting that, like, they're missing the bigger picture. Like, look at the amount of times look at the amount of times Thorfinn actually went into some dangerous situations, all because Askeladd was just like, hey, if you do this thing, I'll give you a duel since you want to beat me honorably, right? And, like, Thorfinn not even like, it's almost like he's not even seeing that, hey, this thing could actually get me killed. Why am I doing this? Dives right in. Like, it's just nothing. Again, how blind he is to the fact that vengeance is what's, like, just all these things that he's doing that shouldn't be happening. I think it almost even leaves him blind to his own value. Because if Thorfinn valued himself, he would not be throwing his life away so carelessly, if that makes sense. And again, and even this tip itself actually ties in with our second tip as to why vengeance is a bad idea. So tip number 2 is that vengeance can leave you vulnerable to manipulation. This is something we see, like, throughout the entire series, that Askeladd uses it like, oh Jesus, like his trump card. If this was like Yu-Gi-Oh, that's a different anime. He uses this so many times on Thorfinn. Like, imagine Thorfinn is like a wolf, and then vengeance is his leash. So every time, and remember, he wants to avenge his dad honorably. He doesn't want to stab Askeladd behind the back. He wants to do it in front of everybody, so they'll know who's the better warrior. It's this, crazy warrior culture. But anyway, so because of that need, very, very deep need, Askeladd will always, throw him, a bone of like, oh, hey, you know what, I'll give you a duel with me if you go do this dangerous thing. And that right there, that request is literally his, Thorfinn's leash being jerked and pulled, because he's now going to do whatever it takes to get that request done, even if it hurts him, even if it hurts someone else. He does not care. Again, back to tip number 1, he's blinded, and he doesn't see that he's being manipulated. You also see it again whenever Thorfinn actually duels Askeladd, where you see that Askeladd is so experienced that, at doing this, that pushes Thorfinn's buttons easily, especially when it goes back to mentioning how Thor's died. So easily that Thorfinn just loses his cool completely, so furious, and then costs him the duel every single time, as you've seen in the series. The thing about vengeance and why it's so dangerous is that it leaves your heart completely exposed, and it leaves the individual completely vulnerable to manipulation. The individual won't see it because they're steeped into the vengeance, or they're already on the path. But those who are far removed from it can see what's happening. They can see the vulnerability. It's very, it's very clear. And the sad thing is that some of them might actually just seek to use that wounded individual for what they can gain, rather than trying to help that person to heal. It's really, really crucial, because though someone thinks they're gaining vengeance for themselves, they don't know that they're opening up who they are to be manipulated by someone because of what this desire can do to somebody. Yeah, that's tip number 2 as to why vengeance is a bad idea.
Billy, I got the hoe. Walk on the water.